guys, Ralph here, and welcome to True Power Trumpet Fitness here on terrific Thursday here in Connecticut. Had car trouble, had them mowed the lawn. Oh, please. It's been terrible. Been a terrible day, but it is terrific. Why? Because we got double C's. Anyway, you saw the thumbnail. Could Harry play orchestral? And could Bud play lead? Bud Herseth. The answer? Yes. Heck yes. Anyway, haven't played a note. Let's see what we got. Anyway, no warm-up. Hellacious double C's. Little I can't get started. And a little high. Caress the baby. Guys, can you go both ways? Can you go both ways? Can you go classical? Can you go jazz? And not change equipment? Yes. Heck yes. If you have the right equipment, if you have a Calet 1SB mouthpiece, it's the only mouthpiece worth buying that will allow you to do both, and it will work for anybody. Now, going both ways has been going on since the beginning of time. Could Harry James play in an orchestra? You bet. Oh, are you kidding me? First of all, let me give you a little background, because this has been a driving force since I picked up the trumpet. When I was a middle schooler, a high school back in Portland, Maine, didn't know what the heck I was doing. There were two things going on, two influences in my life. Number one, a stack of Doc Severinsen albums. And two, the Portland Symphony. I was subbing with the Portland Symphony when I was in high school. There was a trumpet player there named, I believe his first name was George Pettipaw. He was from Boston. He was the orchestral guy, the principal trumpet. There were some other guys that I knew that played in the lower echelons of the Portland Symphony as well, which is to this day still an excellent regional orchestra. Portland, Maine, not Portland, Oregon, I'm not talking about. Okay? And I always knew that Doc, with that gorgeous, centered, brilliant tone, could sit in an orchestra. Absolutely 100% sit in an orchestra. Could Harry do it? Absolutely. On a B-flat trumpet with the double cup mouthpiece, the whole 9 yards. He wouldn't have to change a thing. And he could learn the repertoire. Would he have to tone down the vibrato? Yes. Yes. Okay? But could he play it? Absolutely. He had all the upper notes. If you listen to his Horace staccato, his concerto for trumpet, he had all the technique, brilliant technique, multiple uptuning technique. Was it as good as Doc Schutzer? No, but it was absolutely 100% the next best thing. And the fact of the matter is, Harry Glantz, the principal trumpet with Toscanini in the NBC Symphony, was an admirer of Harry James. And if you listen to their tones, they're almost exactly alike. Now, this is where it came from. In my mind, a great tone was and still is. A great tone is a great tone. Centered, pure, clean, and relaxed. We'll get to relaxed in a minute. Okay? Now, a great tone is going to sound great in any setting that you have, that you're playing. It's a great tone. Okay? Now, here's the deal. What you do with that great tone is going to it's going to allow you one way or the other. Yes, Harry would have to turn down the vibrato. Absolutely. Bud would have to play, well, not with more sizzle, because he played with pretty unbelievable amount of sizzle with the Chicago Symphony. But it can absolutely be done. Now, could Bud play lead? You bet. Bud did play lead. Guys, before he spent 5 minutes at the New England Conservatory and then went right to the Chicago Symphony as principal trumpet, his only experience other than that was playing lead trumpet in one of the military jazz bands. He did it. He absolutely did it. And who were his idols? Harry James and Maynard Ferguson. And you can hear that sizzle. Those clips that I'll try to find it, that clips of the Chicago Symphony playing Zarathustra. I mean, please, don't tell me he doesn't sound like Harry James. Don't tell me he doesn't sound like Harry James. Frank Katarabic did it. Not only could he do it, he did it. In high school and in college, guys, he fronted his own jazz bands, a la Harry James. I fronted my own jazz band, my own society bands with the Peter Duchin Orchestra and played Harry James solos. Okay? Mel Broyles did it. Principal trumpet at the Metropolitan Opera, and he used to go downtown and do untold amounts of studio work. He was the top studio call. And he said a zillion times, Ace, when I walk in, Doc moves over. Guys, he would play it on the 1 1/4 C, or he'd pull out his jet tone if he had to go above a high C. It absolutely 100% can be done. Probably the greatest example, which we don't hear that much about, is Miroslav Kajmar. You kin from Czechoslovakia, he may have the greatest chops ever. May have the greatest chops ever. Okay? And he is playing, well, retired now, sublime trumpet as principal trumpet with the Czechoslovakia Orchestra. Now, Royal Czech Orchestra. Now, like Mel, he freelanced doing studio work. He is the top double C guy, was the top double C guy in Czechoslovakia for years in the studios. And I've heard clips of him. And I'll tell you what, there is a Czechoslovakian version of Frank Sinatra, which he would only have Kajmar play on his recordings. He sounds better than Charlie Turner. Bigger, stronger, up to the A's and B's, please. Big as a house. Same player. Horst Fischer. Jerry had a recording. I told you this. I don't know where it is. If anybody can find it, please. Jerry had a recording of Horst Fischer playing taps. Phil Smith would have cried and run away. This was the most gorgeous, beautiful sound you have ever heard in your life on taps. He could have absolutely, like Harry James, toned down the vibrato, cut back a little bit on the sizzle when it wasn't needed, on the same tiny little hunting mouthpiece that he used. Please. Here's the deal, guys. If your chops are relaxed, and you're controlling it with the thick tongue, you can control the timbre to be anything you want. Anything you want. That is the difference. Now, I didn't say a lot of modern guys. I don't know a lot of modern guys that can make the switch. Most of the orchestral guys, I've gone through it, don't have the chops to play lead. Most of the studio lead guys, whatever, there's too much strain in the sound. And I really and truly believe that is the difference that would allow Harry James, Kajmar, and whatnot, Mel Broyles, to make the switch because there was no strain in the sound. Centered, pure, and brilliant is fine, especially the C trumpet. That's what they're after. But if you have that strain in your sound, you cannot get that grind in the orchestra. They can't have that. The guys I mentioned do not have it, and they could play both easily. Anyway, that's that. Eat and drink fruits and vegetables and live your life with true power. Love you all.